Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Instagram Live. My name is Liz O'Hagan. I'm one of the pharmacists that are with Mars Pharmacy, and I have also got training in integrative health and lifestyle medicine. So I am here as part of the Pharmacy 360 journey. We are focusing our attention on sleep for this month. We've had some amazing people on already. I know Tom Coleman was on with Una there last week and they were fantastic. But tonight we are going to focus our attention on babies and children and their sleeping routine. So I'm going to get Ciara here. Ciara Leonard is our baby whisperer. I'm going to get her on now. Ciara, are you there? Any minute now. But I'll just keep talking until she joins. Oh, here we go. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, Ciara. Welcome. So we've got the
Hi.
Irish baby whisperer here with us, Ciara Leonard. She is full of amazing information, and I know she's going to help lots of people tonight from her knowledge.
All the way
So welcome,
from
Ciara.
Babyland.
Pardon?
Just landed in from Babyland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Never
So
done that.
Ciara,
Hmm.
Ciara is a sleep consultant. A lot of people, I actually didn't know this was a thing until not too long ago. I'm quite embarrassed to say, but Ciara has a wealth of knowledge that she's going to share. But to start, like I'll hand it over to you, Ciara. What is a sleep consultant? You can introduce yourself.
Well, hi, I am Ciara Leonard, and I hope you like my brand new Instagram page, which I have been avoiding for years, and I've called myself the Irish Baby Whisperer because so many families over the years have just naturally called me that. So I just thought instinctively, right, we'll just let it stick. But it's a new page and I probably have about maybe, I think I'm into double figures now, about 10 people, maybe 11. I'm so useless at this kind of thing that hopefully that's good.
Yeah, but
But
I
anyways,
think it's
my first,
important to mention for
yeah,
you, Ciara, sorry to interrupt you there, that the reason you haven't needed to advertise yourself up until now, not that you need to, but are you okay?
yeah.
Is because you've had so much business on word of mouth because people that have used your services have just recommended you to other people and it's just knocked on. So you've actually been in this game for how many years now?
Well, I mean, with children over 20 years, but in sleep alone, 10 years totally focused in on it. And it kind of started off that I went through the nanny options run by Teresa Boardman. And after that, kind of like it spread out because my own friends were having families, and then it kind of kept on spreading. And then my my fear was that if in the world we live in, because social media is so popular and it's all about like getting the amount of people that you're helping, but with the sleep consultancy, which I'll tell you about in a minute, it's kind of tricky because you need to focus on one person individually, and it's very hard to just catch everybody at the same time. And what was keeping me away from doing anything on Instagram was that if somebody, like say a mother, was to contact me, that I wouldn't get back in time, or if they were in serious need of help and I wouldn't be able to respond because there would be too many and my focus was on another family. So we have broken the cycle of that because now, in conjunction with Mars Pharmacy and an amazing Irish run company called Ugo, which have opened up a portal for me to, for them to, the people in the public to access my webinars, my sleep consultancy one to one, and booking through that route. Also, if I'm booked up, that they have a number of other types of help within the same sleep consultancy, and those kind of services, which I'll tell you about now,
Yeah.
at hand, which is brilliant because my fear was like that if I'm not available, who do they go to because I'm one person? Whereas now it's just brilliant to have that ability to kind of share everybody, like get everybody on like the same platform, and give people the option to what services they need for their family, because not the same type helps
Yeah.
all. So just tell
And
you a bit about the sleep consultancy.
yeah, well,
So,
part of Pharmacy 360 is all about we want to be able to recommend you know, direct our customers and signpost them where they can access help. So that's why, as part of our sleep element, we're getting people like you, like we want to know, like reach out to the sleep experts. And I think it's just brilliant that you've kind of taken that leap and got yourself online now that people can find you, because it was a little bit hush hush for a while there. It's like, who is this girl?
I know, 10 years of hush hush. I mean, it's funny because they're like, but we've heard about you, but we can't get
Yeah.
you. And it kind of does make me laugh because it's also the privacy element because, you can't say where you are. Some people don't like to know. Sometimes it's just situational. They don't want to know for many reasons why you're there. So, there's no uniform to it. There's no like jazz hands,
Yeah.
which is surprisingly enough, being a total thespian. So I have like a split personality. But with the sleep consultancy, it's become more popular in the last couple of years, and which is fantastic because now families have another route and another aid to lean on for help. It's still not as big as I'd love it now here. I'd love it to be in the actual, like the health system, to have that support for families.
Mm-hmm.
But from a private hiring way, what I would the services that I provide are, one of them is one-to-one sleep consultancy online. So you talk for a couple of hours about what the problems are, how to solve them, and that's a quick route to that. Then there would be, say, maternity nursing, which can be day or night, and they literally focus on everything to do. It really does fall on sleep because sleep is everything.
It's
Like
really
once
the
you have
anchor
sleep,
to health, isn't
yeah.
it? Like if we're not sleeping, well, if it's the biggest talked topic when there's a new baby in town. It's like, how are they sleeping? It's literally the first question that people ask.
Mm-hmm.
And we see so many new mums and dads coming into the pharmacy, and you just know by them, like, oh, they're not sleeping. Like it knocks on to your choices, your food choices the following day. It knocks on to whether you exercise or not, whether you get out walking. And it affects your relationship with your partner. It affects your relationship with your colleagues. Your performance, everything. So sleep really is so so important, which is why it's amazing to have you on tonight.
Well, it's so nice to be on and finally just to kind of come in and be able to share with everybody. Not only it's just me, but there's loads of people that do this. And some people, the sleep consultants, like offer one-to-one, and some people like that because they like the distance.
Mm-hmm.
I personally myself love hands-on because I absolutely love children and babies. And like, I don't know why, but for some reason, every time I even see a baby, I'm just like it just makes me just like a marshmallow. I just absolutely adore it. And as well, because I can see that there's going to be a few simple things that can be changed to help this, or sometimes bigger things, but I can help you get there. So
Yeah.
my aim as a sleep consultancy is not directly to tell you this is how you do it and you have to follow A, B, and C. My whole ethos is that I'll ask the parents what they want, what way they would see their life living, and what way lifestyle they want to achieve or aim for, and I'll give you options on A, B, or C how to do that or
Mm-hmm.
how to get there, and to choose which one you'd like. Sometimes it has to be a little bit slower, and it's all circumstantial, and every family is so unique. So it's kind of really hard to throw a whole blanket
Mm.
over everybody and catch everybody. And just, and as I always say, even though the books all have great information, the book doesn't know your baby. So
Yeah.
when to apply that and when it's age or stage appropriate is like really, really
Mm-hmm.
important. And even if it's a little bit off, it can be completely off if you try and apply it.
Yeah.
And
And
that's why I like
as
these on.
sorry, as well as the online stuff, you actually you go into people's homes as
Yeah.
well. Like how long, what sort of way does that happen, or what way does that work?
So not every sleep consultancy offers this. It'd be called maternity nursing, as I called it, or night nursing. Sometimes people differentiate, but it's all around the same thing area. Um, the the nighttime, sometimes you can come at night just to give people an idea when they're like, I don't know what they do, but if they come at night and they literally take over. So they can literally take your baby, feed your baby, give you a record of what happened during the night, what to expect the next day, and then they can even go into, which I would, things like the milestones that are coming up, what's expected for your baby at that time, not just because of the age it's at, it's because of
Mm-hmm.
what you've read during the night. Or now that can go on for, you can book a sleep consultant or maternity nurse or night nurse, whichever you want to call it, for anything from, you can do it around the clock, 24 hours, which is very popular in some parts of the world. In Ireland, it's like sleep consultancy is much newer, like it's a newer service
Mm-hmm.
than years ago, but we'll talk about that in a bit because
Yeah.
generational habits of old Irish have come in. But
Yeah.
the main thing is that you can also have it like for a full week, you can have it for one night just to get a good night's sleep, or you can have it for consistent, like whatever you want, 20 weeks, 5 nights a week, and you get sleep until, the kind of average baby age that you can get in a really
Mm-hmm.
good sleep routine is like 12, when a lot of the 12 weeks, when a lot of the feeds are dropped. And yeah, and that would be even in an individual basis as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
And do you work with more than one child at once? Like if someone had a newborn baby and a toddler, like would you work with multiple kids at the same time, or is it just one-on-one sort of?
it actually just, do you mean in the same
Yeah,
family,
yeah.
or do you mean
Like if there were
just,
a couple of
oh
kids.
yeah. You see, sometimes as well, a family might think it's the baby, but it's actually the toddler that's giving the whole family the trouble, or, of not having a good sleep routine. Or sometimes there's two or three children and they all need to be simultaneously, like if there's a toddler and then an older child and then a baby, and that all, sometimes it has to all be worked
Mhm.
on, from children being in parents' beds, which is may have been fine at the start and that's what they wanted, but now they want change, and that's okay. It's not that you did anything wrong. It's just that if you wanted to change, you can get help for it.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, there's like triplets and like multiples of all sorts, because especially now with so much IVF and
Mhm.
people getting help, there's a lot more multiples.
And
So
twins and
everybody
yeah.
wants to try and get something going, that they're not just awake all night long, especially in those early days.
And I can imagine in Ireland, this is quite a new service, but I can imagine people maybe not reaching out for the help that's there. Maybe they don't know about it, but after tonight they do. But being afraid that if they ask for help, it's like they failed. I think that, like, do you see a lot of stigma around that? Because I know people are like very proud and want to be like like they want to be able to do this on their own, but it's okay to ask for help, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge issue, especially in our Irish culture, because there's always this strength associated with doing things on your own and battling through. And if you've got less sleep, I didn't sleep at all last night, I worked really hard, I've been up all night, as if that's a good thing.
Hmm.
And then if people get help, they're nearly embarrassed to say, God, I slept last night, it went well, that kind of way.
Yeah.
So the where I would say generational, which is actually funny you say that. I find a lot of the time, and I don't know if it's just an Irish thing, it might be like worldwide, but with particularly grandparents,
Yeah.
and the mother or father might be saying, "Oh, geez, my parents, like they're forever saying, oh, I didn't do that, and my day, I just got on with it, or and
Yeah.
I just toughened up, and I just had to get up, or and it makes them feel like low about themselves, like the
Hmm.
parents. But then I always ask the grandparents, I always go, now if you did have an opportunity to have help, and you did have an opportunity to have, like, whether it was a maternity nurse just for 1 or 2 days until you felt like you were back on top of stuff, or
Hmm.
if your baby was unwell and you had a little bit of a break for those nights so you could be fully like with it during the day, would you have taken it? And they're like, yeah, of course. Like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? And that's the bit I think the parents miss, the second
Yeah.
bit of that story, because
And if they
they
knew
would
that,
have taken the help.
yeah,
Yeah,
if they knew that,
yeah,
it would be so much easier. Plus, lifestyle is so different now. Like, parents are trying to both work off, like, if there are two parents, they're both trying to maintain jobs. pay bills, like the cost of living has gone up. And I think a lot of people don't live in the same sort of community structure that our grandparents would have lived in. You know, that people are living in cities maybe miles away from their families and mightn't know their neighbors. So it can be so difficult then
Mm.
if the babies aren't sleeping and they're trying to work and pay the bills, like the stress of all that
Mhm.
can be so huge for people.
Oh,
Um,
it's huge. Like it's, and that's the problem, because when once you, especially if it's your first baby, and you have this expectation of thinking that this is what it's like to have a baby, and you'll hear a lot of parents after they have their first child going, "Why didn't somebody tell me?" It's
yeah,
like, "Why didn't somebody tell me
yeah,
that this is what happens?" And but whether it's from the birth to a baby at night, or because all you do see before you even have a baby is like somebody wheeling it down the
yeah,
road, or and they haven't seen the 3 hours it took the mother to get out of the house, but they see the lovely baby dolled up and walking in a lovely pram, and they're like, "Oh, I want a baby." So it's kind
yeah,
of nice to just like have that help to kind of dull down that shock of even knowing what's coming, or what you're in,
yeah.
so that help is there, and there is lots of people that do it. It's just unfortunate that it's taken so long for it to kind of come together, that people will reach out.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's so important. And I hope that after tonight, people do reach out and know that it's okay to ask for help and it's not failure. You know, it's outsourcing, helping yourself to
Mm,
create a better environment for the whole household, not just the baby or not just for you. It's a whole
yeah.
accumulative thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's everybody. I mean, they do say it takes a village,
Yeah.
and it really does. And the thing is that, there's very few villages anymore, because especially with women so much in the workforce now, which is
Hmm.
fantastic. But like the village has to change, and it doesn't have to be family anymore. It can be all little parts of everything, whether it's babysitters to, au pairs to nannies to, friends and family. Like, get your own little network
Yeah.
going. And if that involves a sleep consultant at different times, sometimes you can have one at the start, and then people are like, "Brilliant, I've got it, we've nailed this." And
Yeah.
then a couple of months later, they might reach a different stage, and they're like, "Oh, it's changed now. What do we do now?" And I'm like, "Brilliant, well done for calling," because that's, you don't get it until you're actually in it,
Yeah. And I
Mm.
think as well, like outsourcing to experts like yourself and other sleep consultants, but also we in the pharmacy would see a lot of young parents coming in, and sometimes it's just for the chat, like, and to know that the whole pharmacy team is there to help and to chat. And like I know in I work in the Kinvara branch in Dublin 7 for Mars, and we've got like all ages of workers, some have grandkids, some are new mums themselves, and everyone has advice to give. And if it could be that the child is teething at the moment, and a bit of calpol will make all the difference, and it's just to have that encouragement and to know that you can go in and just ask, and you're not being disruptive, you're not being a pain. Like, we actually love seeing the little babies coming in as well, so please do come in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The part of the village of your new village now is making sure you do touch base with your pharmacy, and sometimes instead of just going straight to the doctor, you can get different aids that help you, from anything from a thermometer to snuffle baby. There's just oodles of things that you can
Mhm.
do in a pharmacy before you feel like you have to take it to the next step.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the
And
same time, yeah.
we're there to as well help to tell you when you should go to your doctor. Like, that's part of our role, is like when to refer. So absolutely, like, know that that's out there and it's free as well. So um but I think what people really want to know tonight is like get to the good stuff. We want to pick your brain on a few topics. So my question for you now is, what are the most common challenges you see people facing, or what are the best tips you could give people from what you've seen in your last kind of 10 years doing focusing on sleep?
I feel like I need to take a sip of water before I divulge this information, because
Once it's just
these
water.
these are yes, definitely just well, maybe
Yeah, so what would
definitely.
be your first few tips for people?
Well, the one thing is that you definitely have to stop me, because I can just keep
Okay.
on going with these tips, because there's little ways to solve every little thing, and never think there's you've just to put up with something.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a way to push through. And also one thing, even before I hand out these tips, the one thing I would like to say is that especially to mothers or, emotional, anybody that really feels their babies cry, everybody hears the same, but you feel it differently. So just to be aware of each other's feelings, especially in a partnership. So my top tips, because I had to write a little list, because I was like, I'm going to give away everything here, but it applies differently to different people. But my top one was actually similar to what I was just saying there, is listen to your gut
Mm-hmm.
feeling. So, if, not only if your child is unwell or anything, but also, that, a lot of people have advice and, tell you about the story of their child and like, oh, that's nothing, or it is something, or do you know what you should do? If you feel like that isn't something you should do, don't like, don't put pressure on yourself to follow that. Like, go with your gut instinct and like really tune into your baby and spend time with your baby, and avoid putting that pressure to, that expectation of like this, like it should feel like this and it should feel like that, and bonding. And everybody is so different.
Mm-hmm.
And also everybody sometimes, depending on how they're feeling, want to personify how they're feeling with their baby, and it's totally different. So never take it as concrete information. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel it yourself, go with it. Go to your pharmacy,
Yeah.
because they'll do, they'll pass you on to the doctor if it's something, so do work those kind of things around, how you feel, and just take your time.
Yeah.
And that's
Nobody
really
knows
important.
no one knows that child better than the parents. Like they know
Yeah.
the like what's normal and what's not normal.
Yeah.
So we would always say that to parents in the pharmacy setting as well. Like trust your gut, and if you feel that your child is, say, especially around sickness, oh, am I being a nuisance if I go to the doctor? And like, I'm sure the doctor has seen this before, and hopefully they will do nothing but reassure you that it's okay, or else like take it further. But like the help is out there, and if you're feeling it in your gut that something's not right, that's probably because something is not right. So act on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, they are still so connected to you. So do, my second one, which I know that people reading any book or any website will hear routine, routine, routine,
Mm-hmm.
but it is actually really important. And the reason it's important is not even the fact that you have to follow a schedule. It's not about a time, at this time you have to do that. It's more about, to me, it's about what comes next. So if your baby's had a nap, then they wake up and have a bit of activity
Mm-hmm.
before having a full feed. Say even something like tummy time, that they're not going to all over you, and then end up like having a feed, and then continue that cycle throughout the day. So it has to be, you'll have your nap, you'll have your activity, then you'll have your feed, and it works through that cycle, even if you were to naturally do it. But it just creates like a nice little routine of a cycle, rather than feeling like I have to do this time and that time. And
Mm-hmm.
especially the first couple of weeks, like it's very much like you're just guiding your baby, listening to your baby, cuddling your baby, getting to know them. So, and there's a lot of pressure. People like quick get them into a routine, but that is a routine. It just depends on your perspective, really. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's all about,
How you
and
define
that's
it. Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing. Remember that somebody's perspective could be totally different to your perspective of a routine. People sometimes think they're regimented and they're not, like, or they have that cycle. But definitely, that in particular with the nap, then the activity. And one of the other things I would say as a tip for activities is that avoid thinking that this is just like playing with your child and being a full entertainer and singing nursery rhymes and using
Juggling
rattles.
and
Like, yeah.
standing on one leg or whatever.
Yeah, like it's not, doesn't have to be all like exhausting. Activity can be having a bath, going for a walk. One of my favorite ones is having playing your favorite music. Don't feel that you have to listen to nursery rhymes all the live long day. I mean, they'll get to two or three and you'll end up singing Wheels on the Bus for hours, on repeat. So
Yeah.
so while you have the chance, listen to your favorite songs, like
When they're baby.
listen to whatever made you happy and got up and danced, whether it's the Spice Girls or Michael Jackson or whatever it
Yeah.
is, or it's your wedding song or it's your graduation song. Like they're the songs that make you really feel good. And if you get up and put on, even make your playlist and
Mm-hmm.
just lash it on even when you're not feeling great or you're tired, and you put it on and it's the time to kind of have a bit of interaction with your baby, whether you dance around the room with them or they're on the floor, they'll feel that energy and they'll
Mm-hmm.
feel from you
Yeah.
like that real positive feeling. And that's such a feel good aspect for a baby and for a mother, no
Well,
matter what age
dancing.
the baby is. Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, dancing for the adults as well. Dancing's been shown to be like the best type of exercise for releasing happy hormones and endorphins. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's gonna knock on to such a positive effect for everybody. And sometimes even if you don't feel like doing it, once the music kicks in, you're like, okay, get into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things that activity, play with your baby, and people are like, play with my baby. Like, I've never had a baby before. What to do? It doesn't have to be difficult. Like, bring it right into even if you're just, cooking in the kitchen and you're making something like, don't think that that's not an activity. Like, they're smelling things, they're seeing things, there's
Hmm.
temperatures are changing. Like, their sensory system is so heightened that all those things are like so stimulating,
Hmm.
even light change, it's there's so much going on. So, make your world, their world. Bring it right into your world, rather than thinking you have to go into this, baby world and
Hmm.
play this role of what you imagined it like. Like, bring them right in, because you want them to grow up with things you like and enjoy, and that
Yeah.
will always help.
And it's also
Um,
going to be like more kind of boost the confidence of the parents that they're not trying to do something new or learn something new when they already have so much going on that they're trying to
yeah.
juggle. So it's like, what do you know? And stick with what you do know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, even people that are into, because I know, like, in the last couple of years, especially with after COVID, that even say sea swimming has become such a huge thing. But like, it's not like you can bring your baby into sea to the sea
Yeah.
when it's a newborn. But you can happily get them used to water, and whether that's in the sink or playing with water, doing water play. Like, they're activities that like will grow those development and those skills. And that's what you want them then, whether it's you're into kite surfing or whatever, that's what you're guiding them through. So they're just a
Yeah.
miniature version of that. So bring it right down, and
Yeah.
you can make it smaller.
Brilliant.
I could keep on
Go
going
and give
on
us
about activities, but
another
there's
tip
always a
there.
way. Yeah, there's a few little gems, but there's always like ways to like bring whatever you're interested in into their world.
Hmm.
Um, what was my third thing? Oh yeah, this is a really good one,
Ooh.
and probably it could actually be my number one. Because it's the one that is probably the most obvious, but people don't think about it, is to learn your baby's cries. And this
Hmm.
isn't to become an expert in going, oh, that's what, my baby's hungry and my baby's tired. It's more to, your aim is not to stop your baby crying. Your aim is to learn why your baby's crying.
Hmm.
So avoid immediately just picking them up and just trying to shush them.
Hmm.
Find out why they're crying and have like little roots on, like little, what way would I put this? Like, say if your baby's in their cot and they're crying, and you immediately like run in, and whether it's a soother or it's a blanket, or you think, just take a little minute to like listen and see why they're crying, and then think about their day and see
Hmm.
why they're crying. And it might be because they're too cold, or it might be because they've lost their soother, or it might be because their nappy is too tight, or but once you get to kind of listen to your baby, you get to know them a little bit better. And because they can't talk, their crying is one of their huge communication skills at this age. Whereas a lot of people fear crying, whereas I'm like,
Hmm.
no, hang on, listen for a second. Does that sound like this, or does that sound like that? And
Yeah.
they suddenly slowly kind of go, oh, actually, that sounds like they're hungry, or that sounds, yeah, or
Hmm.
actually, that's the sound, like little, like really obvious ones well, I know it's obvious to me, it's not when you have a new baby, but when they start to kind of make certain sounds, which might sound like crying if they're doing a nya sound, and they might sound like, they're going to go into a cry, whereas actually that's the last sound they make before they go asleep, because they often make lots of these kind of vibration sounds to like calm their nervous system before they fall asleep. And if you interrupt that, you're actually breaking that cycle and starting all over again. If you lift them up and kind of go, you're okay, and turn on the light and go, there, oh, they mustn't want to go to sleep. So just take your time and really tune into not being afraid to kind of just give it a minute or two and get to know your baby's cry as much as possible.
Yeah, that's so, they're brilliant advice there. Thanks so much. I'm sure there's loads of people that are taking notes at home.
Well, there's loads more, but if I go on, I could actually be here all night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But for people, because who do want to learn more from you, through you've teamed up now with Ugo, so through your brand new Instagram account with all your, how many followers are we at? 10
Oh,
now?
I'm sure I've got a few more after this.
Fingers crossed we'll have a few more after this. But
Yeah,
on your link in your bio, that'll bring people to a website where they can try to book you for potential online consultations one-on-one, or for you to go as a night nurse or sleep nanny, whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
for a week or two, actually come to your home and do it that way. That's another option. But very exciting is that you are...
Actually, can I just interrupt you there, because I know this will be a question that comes up. There's no doubt about it. So people always get confused if it's only for bottle-fed babies, and it's not. It's for breastfed babies as well. And it's funny actually, because I can totally understand when they're not used to it. But to me, it's like, I'm like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you do breastfed babies? Because they're like, but the mother has to breastfeed, and of course, it's not me breastfeeding your baby. It's wet nurses are a thing of the past, just in case. Well, I'm sure some parts of the world are not, but with me it isn't. So, but what I would like to put a focus on is that it breastfeeding mothers as well, because they get that chance to, I would come into the room, make sure they're in a comfortable position, help them with their latch or their positioning, or making sure they're comfortable. They'd feed their baby. Once the baby's satisfied, then they don't have to spend, especially if you have like a reflux baby or any kind of digestive issues, that I can take the baby and wind it and like let it settle, because sometimes, especially say something after reflux, they might have to be held up for like sometimes a half an hour, sometimes an hour, if they need help. So you're to help with that digestion. Whereas now, if that's taken away, the mother can just slide back into under her covers and go to sleep, and it's taken away that hour of needing to do that. So there's also that, I want to make sure as well people know that, so it's not like people that get help in that they're immediately one or the other on a judgmental level. There's lots of help that way as well. Sorry for interrupting you. I just wanted to make sure people knew that it was for all types of mothers.
No, that's perfect. That's brilliant.
Or fathers.
Well, through your Instagram and you're linking up with Ugo, you are doing a series of webinars. If you want to tell us a bit about that.
So I have, this is actually with Mars Pharmacy, as you know. It's actually, and with Pharmacy 360, it's especially made for them to I suppose roll on from this in Instagram Live, to actually give people the opportunity, especially if they miss this or if they just want more information about their particular age bracket of their baby or their stage. So if there's 3 webinars, one done from 0 to 3 months, one from 3 to 6, and then I've put from 6 to 12 months into that wobbler age. And I've done those 3 separately because I find they're the biggest jumps and the biggest changes, for all different reasons, because even things tie in that we haven't even covered here today, like with, say, food has a huge effect on babies. And it's important that mothers know and fathers know that the gaps between when you start, when you don't, what's appropriate for your baby. And even if it's not, say, me helping you with that, like, say, somebody like weaning.ie, Kathy Monaghan, who was the pediatric dietitian in Temple Street for years, and now she has a company called weaning.ie. That's just absolutely phenomenal. Great advice, grounded.
She's actually getting involved when we focus on nutrition. Yeah, she's amazing. Her her
yeah.
Instagram page, weaning.ie, is super as well. Yeah.
But you know what I love about that is that it's not anything extraordinary. It like really is fitting for like, you know, a bit like it's kind of comparable in a way to what I do. I want it to fit around your family. I don't want you not to do things. I want you to enjoy life. I want you to be able to go out and go on holidays. I just want to tell you how to get there and how to fly back and what you do when you fly back and what you
Yeah.
do when you know. So there's a ways around everything. And when you do have, say, like that, a set routine, you can have more flexibility. That's what it really gives you, rather than having flexibility all the time and then you don't know what's happening next.
Yeah.
And then that throws the whole family off. So with that, I have those 3 webinars, and they're done at 50% off for the Mars Pharmacy, and they are on what dates?
They're in
I forgot to
July.
double check them.
They're coming up at the end of July,
And
and all of the
July.
dates, if you follow the link, because they're on different
Yeah,
evenings,
yeah,
and they're all
yeah.
live webinars. And the cost of them, do you want to share
Yeah,
what that is?
it's only
Very
€50 for
good.
each webinar. So it basically will give you a good foundation of all the things within that age group related to sleep, and look a bit like, you know, all those tips and tricks of, you know, little things how to do, but it'll be live, and I hope it'll just help abundance people all together and that want to ask questions and you know, get to interact a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's like that's going to be amazing for people, and you know, for anyone in pharmacy to be able to direct people towards you as well. Like that's what Pharmacy 360 is all about. It's reaching out to the experts in these different areas of our lifestyle, which we know impact our health so much. Sleep is such an anchor in that. As we said earlier, it knocks on to so many things. If you're not sleeping, you know, it affects your nutrition, your relationships, your working environment, your just absolutely everything. Your whether you exercise or not, like it just affects your decision making so much the following day. And there's nothing like a good night's sleep. And when it's not happening, or you can't see light at the end of the tunnel, you've got a couple of young kids at home, you're struggling, like, to know that people like you, and that there are others as well. You know, as we said, you're only one person, but if people, like, if you are booked up and people can't access you, Ciara, through your website, they can click on, and there will be a link. You'll be sent to somebody else. So there's always going to be help out there. And
that's the great thing about with Ugo. If you just scroll down, and then they'll have more options for whatever your needs are in that area. It's just a great way of getting access to more people, and knowing there's people out there that do that with Ugo.ie. Like, it's just fantastic that this is going to grow, and people have the option to get help a little bit easier, a little quicker, and it's just a direct route. So it's not just me and then a stop. So
because if you're struggling in the kind of, say, 3 to 6 month bracket, and you've got a waiting list of 6 months, I mean, that's no use to you in 6 months time. You know, you need it quickly. Like if you've kind of taken the brave step to ask for help, you need to be able to reach and access that help pretty quickly, in an ideal world anyway.
Well, that's the aim, to actually get help to people quicker, and to literally get us all on the same platform, so that there is all those people and vice versa, that people can help more people. So it's the village.
Yeah, it is.
It's the village.
I know we're kind of pushing on for time a little bit, but maybe before we finish up, we did put out a question box the other night. So I might ask you just 1 or 2 last minute questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure, go for it. Yeah,
So I
go
had
for it.
one person has asked, do naps have an impact on a child's ability to fall asleep at night? What would you say to that one?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And this is where stage and age is really important. But your main thing as well is to remember that, like, you know, during the day and the night, it's like a bit of a seesaw. So that if you don't get the naps right during the day, it affects the night, and the night sleep affects the day. So this is really important. You know, because a lot of times you might think, no, my child is fine during the day, they nap whenever they want or they can't nap, but they don't know how to maybe knit their sleep cycles together. So
Mm-hmm.
that's even something a sleep consultant, maternity nurse can help you with, and help you go into the detail of like how to knit those sleep cycles together without them waking up after each one. So those naps individually. And in the webinars, I will go more into detail of the age groups of those. But like say for, I'd say a typical 3 month old that has a three naps a day, like which ones to be bigger, which ones to be smaller, what's the first one to go, all those things are really important for like continuous future proofing of a good healthy sleep environment for a child. So yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. And let me see, what will I go to the last one? I don't want to pick something that's a huge topic for you because is it important to create a sleep-friendly environment, and how can you do that? So the
Oh,
environment.
yes. I mean, this is funny. I feel like I repeat a lot of repeat a lot of
Mm,
things, but it's funny. This is where I love going in-house, because somebody might say to me, oh, they would have read all over the place, oh, you have to make sure you have blackout blinds and a blackout room. And then I would go into a room and go, can see my hand in front of my face. This isn't dark. Or, they don't realize that actually there's the skylight in the hall is coming in, and that's
mm,
affecting, like, what could we do about that? And is there something we can do about that?
mm,
But definitely, the sleeping environment is so vital, because then you can bring it everywhere. And people are traveling so much now. Like, you
yeah.
want to be able to literally bring that environment with you.
Hmm.
So everybody's heard with even things like white noise, blackout blinds, sleep associations are like, whether it's even a mother's top tied to the crib, like safely, that they
Hmm.
can even smell their mother, or, there's so many little things that you can do in a safe, friendly way that really increases the ability for a child to like just sleep. And then even if they wake, they kind of still can kind of go, no, we're still in the sleep environment. Okay, back to sleep.
Yeah.
And that'll help them. Like, I mean, it's incredible. Sometimes it's the smallest things that like you get the most out of it.
And you think
So.
it's dark already, but actually, and it's obviously going to be a bigger factor in the summertime when we've longer evenings and we've earlier, like it's brighter much earlier in the morning as well. So just to make sure that, that's a really good example you gave. Like if you can see your hand in front of your face when the lights are off, it like you shouldn't be able to basically.
I mean, that's for adults too.
Yeah,
I mean, if you have a light shining in your face, or you've left your curtains open, sure, you wake up at the
you
crack of
wake up
dawn.
straight
So
away.
yeah, yeah.
I've started to have to wear a sleep mask. It's actually been a bit of a game changer. So
Oh,
yeah.
interesting,
It's working well.
interesting.
um, then the last one I will ask you, I had a nice one. What advice do you have for transitioning from a crib to a bed?
Okay, this is a good question, because in particular, it's I know this is going to sound a bit random, okay, but like when I think of this, we're always thinking of the parent's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll keep this one short, because there's lots of different parts to it, because lots of people have their crib different places and different sizes and what they do. But the main thing to remember is, from your baby's perspective, they're in a place and they're just looking up. They
Mm-hmm.
don't see the world wider around them.
Yeah,
So what you have to think is that even though you're looking down and you see them in a big, massive cot now, and you're like, oh no, they're not cuddled, and they just feel like they're so lonely.
yeah,
They are looking up at the exact same thing. So if you can kind of even emotionally get yourself there, where you're like, it's not a huge jump for them,
yeah,
it's more a jump for
yeah,
me. So when you're even putting them into the cot, you think, oh my God, like, your nervous feeling will even shift to the baby if you're going, oh God, they're in this cot, and they're going to be like, they're not right beside me anymore. The
yeah,
baby is more likely to feel that and might feel unsettled. Whereas if this is the same way, they're looking up at the same sky, they have the
yeah,
same dark room, they have the same white noise, they have the same sheets,
yeah,
everything, that they actually are going in, and they know from you that this is a happy, confident place and safe place to be. They'll feel it from you when you're putting them down, and that you're not apologizing for putting
yeah,
them down. And
yeah.
this is
Because
just the
they
task.
pick up
Yeah,
on everything, don't they?
yeah.
Like even
Absolutely
if
everything. And that would be a really good, that's a really good perspective to look at, that any transitioning, that it's what they're looking up at and where
Yeah,
they are, rather than feeling, oh no, it's just too big. Because a
brilliant.
lot of people go, oh no, they're so tiny. They feel really tiny again when you put them into a big crib after being into, say, a Moses basket or a side crib or a crib, you know.
So it's
So
a bigger
yeah.
deal for the parent, not the baby. So to remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it
Yeah,
really is, you know. But a lot of the time it is with any of these things. It's because the parents feel it and they
yeah,
don't know how to like stick with what they'd like to do or what they'd like to achieve. But that's where the help comes in.
yeah. For
And back to the
all
village.
those
Back to the
all those little
village. Yeah,
transitions. Yeah, just to
yeah,
have that encouragement and you're doing a good job. That
yeah,
affirmation kind of
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's okay to feel that way. Like you know, there's nothing wrong with it. Like you're okay. You're okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Well, I think I could keep asking, but I know we've gone over the time. How are you feeling? Should we go for one more, or
Oh, go for it.
can I ask
Go for it.
one
Yeah,
last one?
yeah.
How strictly should we stick to the sleep schedule for our child? That's the last question.
Ooh, interesting. Well, now ugh, I feel like I'm repeating myself and back to like it's age and stage appropriate,
But
yada
that's okay.
yada.
Hmm.
But there's one thing I will say is that when your child is unwell, all the rules go out the window,
Hmm.
you know. But what I would say at the same time is that definitely stick to it as close as you can with gentle guidance.
Hmm.
Don't feel that you're like, okay, that's it, and we're just going to let everything slide. And because you're feeling that they're sick and you're like, oh, I want to hold them, like try not to, get into habits that you want to avoid.
Hmm.
But definitely, yeah, stick to stick to the routine as close as you can. Babies and children alike, even as we get older, we love knowing what's going to happen
Hmm.
next. Like even adults are like, well, what's happening next? Imagine if we didn't know what time, I don't know, dinner was at. It would throw us, like,
Yeah.
because then we'd be like, do I eat more for lunch? Because I don't know if
Yeah.
dinner's later, or,
Yeah.
it's the same with sleep and naps and everything for babies. It all kind of comes as one because sleep is everything and it's affected by everything. So, yeah, definitely stick to it, but don't, if you have a family gathering or you're going to be late up at night or you have, like, say, granddad's birthday party and the kids want to go, don't feel under pressure that you can't go or that, you have to live your life.
Hmm.
And that is just something to always remember. But at the same time, if you feel like you've only just got on top of doing something, you can always say no to something as well and don't feel pressured the opposite way around by, not
Okay.
being there. It's so important that you put yourself and your child or your children first. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, big, huge thank you to you. And I'm sure everyone that's tuned in will be taking notes and hopefully
Well,
putting it into practice. But just before you finish, just to let people know again where they can find you and how they can reach out to you
so
and others like you.
my Instagram page that's only so new the last couple of days that I'm sure I have hopefully double figures, maybe even
Ooh.
triple figures at this stage. Who knows? Is called The Irish Baby Whisperer. And when you go onto my Instagram page, there's a link to ugo.ie, which I said is the Irish company, fantastically run. And I'm so delighted to say they've opened this portal so that we can put it out to the public to have access to booking me and booking other sleep consultants, maternity nurses, and access to that village that you've got to build. So
Yeah.
take a look at it, and that's where the webinars can be booked, and that's where the one-to-one consultations can be booked as well.
Yeah.
And
And
then I take it from there.
the webinars are going to be live, so there will be a bit of interaction, Q&A sort of in it, I'd
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah.
yes.
So that'll
Yeah,
be
will definitely happen. But the webinars won't be recorded. It's really important people know that that's not for public view.
yeah, because obviously, as you said before, different stages, different ages, the advice is going to be different. So you don't want people taking things out of context. You need to make sure that it's right for them at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really important.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you so much, and thanks to Mars Pharmacy, and like Pharmacy 360 is such a fantastic project with 7 elements that are just vital. But I mean, I could be biased, but sleep is definitely the most important.
Yeah, it
But I
definitely is
mean,
great.
it's connected to everything, and
Yeah,
that's the whole point of it, that everything has to be looked at,
exactly,
everything. Yeah.
exactly. Well,
Amazing. Thank you so much.
thank you for being my very first Instagram live guest. I hope everyone has enjoyed it who's tuned in. So make sure you go and follow the Irish Baby Whisperer on Instagram, and we'll try to get Ciara into triple figures, hopefully on her following list. I'm sure you'll have no problem there. And I'm now going to try save this without deleting it. So
Oh,
that's my biggest challenge
amazing.
now.
Good
Okay,
luck.
guys, thank you so much,
Thanks
and
a million. Thanks a
we'll
mil.
chat soon.
Take
Bye bye.
care. Bye. Bye. Bye.